The perfect lineup is a very unique challenge archetype, where the goal is to clear as many stages as possible without changing your lineup at all. Other than that, all is fair game. You can use Talon Orbs, combos, and use whatever strategy you want. The only rule is that you can't change units out for another. I've been interested in these for a while, and I decided to make my own perfect lineup, but with a bit of a twist. See, usually certain nigh impossible stages are omitted from perfect lineups, such as We'll Meet Again 3-star and The Door Opens. However, I decided that every single stage in the game without restrictions will be cleared, bar none. And so, this lineup you see is capable of doing just that. There's definitely quite a lot to explain here with the unit selections, so I'll be doing just that. First of all, there are a few units that are physically impossible to replace, as they are required for certain stages to even be possible. The first of these worth discussing is Bahamut. His main purpose is sheer offense, being designed to massively shake up the front line whenever he is used. What makes him physically irreplaceable is We'll Meet Again. The strategy for doing this stage on 3 Crown requires you to clip Bahamut through Ava 13 and kill the base. No other unit works due to Bahamut's blast attack clearing out the anti-cheese, and even if there were units that could replace him, there would be none that match his uses outside of the stage, so Bahamut is impossible to replace. Something to note about the cheese is that you need a speed up combo to perform it, as Ava 13 is wave immune, so the cat cannon doesn't affect him. This is where the next two units come in, with the first being Hayabusa, who also serves as the lineup's crit unit. Hayabusa was chosen for his speed-up combo, and due to his very unique and powerful role with Ultra Talents. He becomes one of the strongest LD rushers in the entire game, and he also serves as a complete shutdown to Heinous Road. Hayabusa's general usage should not be underestimated, as he contributes a serious amount for his mobility. So, he's good in third form, but how is he as a crit unit? Well, he's one of the best in the game, especially for a perfect lineup. I've tested several metal stages with Hayabusa first form, and he destroys pretty much all of them. These include Total Myopia 3 Crown and Iron Sand Beach 3 Crown, which are the hardest metal stages in the game as of now. The only possible replacement for Hayabusa is Daliasin, due to him also having a speed combo, but Little Island isn't nearly as good of a crit unit, and you also lose to Heinous Road. On top of that, you miss out on Ninja, who's required for The Door Opens. Much like We'll Meet Again, this stage was also considered for the lineup. Ninja has dodge versus black, and is affordable before the first Assassin Bear reaches the base, meaning it is possible to win with just Ninja. However, to add convenience, the other two meat shields can use dodge orbs to help speed it up. There is absolutely nothing that could possibly replace Ninja, due to him being essential in completing two of the main hardest stages this lineup was made for. It's quite funny how hard he is to replace here, considering he's usually treated as being completely awful, but with cashback orbs, he's actually a somewhat effective staller. Nothing game-breaking, but he's far from useless. The last unit that's impossible to replace is Cosmo, and this is for the same reason as Ninja. He is the only attacker able to outrange the Assassin Bears when the door opens, meaning he must stay in the lineup. Technically, it's possible to do it without him with enough RNG, but that is far too unreasonable to do, so he has to stay for all intents and purposes. It certainly helps that he's also one of the strongest general snipers in the game, and also serves as a counter to Socrates. I'm honestly incredibly lucky that the only Uber that really works in the door opens is also one of the strongest in the game, as it makes the lineup much easier to use on most stages. If it weren't for the door opens, Cosmo would honestly still probably be here just because of Socrates. Now, there's definitely one question on your mind. Do I still think he's overrated? Yes. Now we can go in slot order, starting with Rice Ball. This is our main staller thanks to the cashback orb, and they were chosen in place of Manic Eraser due to 12-3. That's one of the hardest stages for this lineup, and honestly a load of bullshit, so they were chosen instead. No combos are used for them because no units with combos are essential for the lineup. Vigler's combo benefits literally no one, and Kai isn't needed due to Hayabusa covering Heinous and Cosmos covering Socrates. Rice Ball is only needed for 12-3, but is sufficient enough as a general meat shield to make me not miss a Manic Eraser. The original version of the lineup had them swapped for Manic Eraser, but I realized that they were needed for 12-3. Jiangxi is fairly self-explanatory. A survive meat shield that's great for so many stages, and the lineup would absolutely not be the same without them. He's only really strictly needed for Valpurgis Nacht, but even beyond that stage, he's a great secondary staller. Balrog and Defono are basically a requirement for any perfect lineup. Balrog is just big damage galore, and Defono is needed for the lineup to have CC. If you've seen any perfect lineup video, you know why these two are here. Aphrodite is probably the least valuable unit here, but they are still very difficult to replace. She serves two main purposes in this lineup. The first purpose is Bonaglios, which is often considered the hardest stage for perfect lineups. I'm fairly certain that stage 4 is impossible without her due to the bosses having way too much DPS for your units to stall them effectively. And the other purpose is, well, as I said, Aphrodite is the least valuable unit here, as she serves the same role as both Cosmo and Defono as a sniper, but she still serves to make Bonaglios possible. If that stage is doable with someone else in her slot, I probably will update it, but I highly doubt that will happen. The only possible replacement I could see is Bora, who isn't nearly as strong of a generalist, and doesn't counter stage 4 as well. Plus, she serves as a tertiary backup sniper on stuff like wave stages, and pretty much removes any alien enemies. And the last unit here is Lazarus, who serves one main goal: kill the boss, no matter what. Pretty much every complaint people have about Lazarus is gone in perfect lineups. Don't like RNG? Tough shit, Timmy. If the stage is possible, it's possible. Because the lineup has so many filters for specific stages, Lazarus is a requirement for most general boss stages, and you can basically consider him one giant filter towards every enemy. And even if the stage seems impossible, you can perform a cheese with him and Defono, as long as you have a well-timed iron wall. This is pretty much a hard counter to the majority of UL stages, and any that might seem impossible can be reasonably cheesed. Tropical Garden is a perfect example of this, as Lazarus and Bahamut deal enough damage to kill the base before the Awesome and Razorback push beyond Iron Wall. Even if he was only useful for cheese strats, he'd still be a very solid option for this lineup, as there's basically no replacements for him. One final thing I'd like to discuss is that I don't believe there's a single stage this lineup can't beat. It has several filters to some of the hardest stages in the game, and all talent orbs are allowed for any niche cases. Speaking of which, I actually expected UL orbs to be a requirement, but after doing some testing, I'm fairly certain that the entirety of 3-crowned UL is doable without them. There's a good chance that this isn't the objective best lineup in the game, but it's definitely close. And it's the only perfect lineup I've seen that beats every stage in the game, no exceptions. Any new stages that challenge the lineup, I will mention, but this lineup is likely not falling to anything at this rate.